Hello and welcome. Today we're going to go through how to use Excel to calculate the moving average of a set of data. So let's begin with creating the data set. So we're going to create a penguin population. So we're going to get some penguins and see what happens with them. So we've got a penguin population and we're going to go monthly with their periods. And then we're going to have population. And then we're going to do the moving average over 3 days, moving average over 5 days, and the moving average over 9 days. Now Excel is really cool. Basically, if we put three data sets in order, we can actually follow a pattern through. So we're going to do this over 2 days. 2 years. So for the months, we basically click down the corner here in this little handle. And when we click on it, we can drag it down. So I'm going to click it all the way down to 24 and release. And we'll automatically fill all that in for me. Now just a bit of editing. We're going to merge and center this top. So then that line's there. I'm going to make this black and put white text in, and we'll make that up to 16. Same with these guys here. Let's actually do it all. We'll go black and then white, and then we'll center. Let's center these data as well while we're here. Okay, so the population is something that I've generated myself, just based off intuition. And we're just filling it in. So the easiest way when you're filling this in Microsoft Excel or even Google Sheets is to basically type the number, and then all you got to do is press enter and it'll go down to the next row, which saves you a lot of time. Now this data is totally fictional. I've just made it up, but it should serve the purposes of seeing some interesting insights of how the moving average can be applied and give you some ideas of why it can be useful in the real world. So we've got 4887, 4876, and then 4984. Fantastic. Now I'm going to generate a chart of this just so that we can see it as we're building it. So you go here, up to the insert button, and across here you'll find all the different charts. Now for this, we're probably going to be focusing on scatter plot. So we click on this guy, and I like using the smoothing one while using moving averages because it gives you a bit more of an insight. So we'll click on this guy, move that down here, and then we'll move this up here. Cool. I also like changing it to this format just because it's a little bit more fun and interesting. And what we can see here straight away is there's a nice sort of generalized trend where the line's going up, and gives you pretty good insight. Now to expand this, basically all you got to do is get the axes and double click on here, and you'll find this fourth tab will open up with the maximum and minimum. So you can see it's probably about 3,200 it goes up from. So instead of the minimum starting at 2, if we go 3,200 or even 3,300, let's try that. You can see that it gives you a better insight into the general data and zooms in on it and gives you more access to features as you look at and build these momentums of the moving averages. Cool. The other thing that we can do then is also add axes titles. So over here, you click on axes and then you go here, vertical. So this one here, if we select all this, just using shift up and go population, and then down here, this axis is months. Great. And then up here, because we're good mathematicians, we label our chart. Okay, so now to build the moving average, if we want to do 3 days, we're going to do these first 3 days, and they get stored into this first position here. So we're going to go over here, go equals, and then all we're going to do is type in average. Open the bracket, move across here, select these cells and press enter. Now here comes the cool part. Instead of having to retype that, because you could technically go here, equals average, open the brackets, select those 3 cells and press enter. But instead of doing that, what we can do is use the fill handle again. So we click on this guy, drag it all the way down, and we don't want to go all the way to the bottom, we just want to go one above, and we filled it in. The reason why we don't go all the way to the bottom is because this guy here actually represents the last 3 cells. So you'll find when we're doing moving averages, there's sort of this cutoff of data for the top and the bottom, but that still allows us to see patterns and general trends within this. So if we look at this, the moving average actually smooths out the data, which is kind of interesting. Now, if you did a moving average from beginning to end, you'd actually just make a linear line. But by using it over each of these 3 days, you can see the gradient change, which is quite interesting. So this data point here, for example, is unique in the fact that it's quite significantly above the moving average. And same with this one and this one here. So they give you some sort of insights as to what's happening, which is what a lot of financial traders use as well. Now, because we can't have half a penguin, we're probably going to need around these. And a real simple, fast way of doing that is just here. And all you got to do is literally move the decimal point, and then straight away it's all edited for you. Same with moving average 5. We'll do it again. So we want to find the average of these first 5 points here. And that's going to be stored into this point here. So we'll go equals, type the keyword average, which is a function. So we've used equals as the thinking button, clicked on this cell, and then dragged down. We'll then close the bracket, press enter, and then same thing again, just click and drag. Now we've got another moving average, and you see that this smooths out even further. So it gives you a pretty good indication of the line and how that works. Again, it gives you some pretty interesting insights. So this moving average compared to this moving average is quite high. And you can see the generalized trend was this first coming straight down in this direction. Again, same thing to clean up the data. We'll just click on that and move the decimal point. So then for the last one, if you want to do the 9 points, we'll find the average in the middle at the 5th day. So we'll go equals average, open the brackets, click on the top here, drag it down to 9, close the brackets and press enter. We'll then click on this guy here, drag it all the way down to the second 2 above the bottom one, because then it's symmetrical, which you can see here. And now we've got this yellow line, which shows the more of the generalized trend from a long-term perspective. Again, we'll clean up the data and move it back. And then that shows you on average where the penguins sort of came through. So hopefully that's giving you some insights into how moving averages work. If you have any questions, please pop them down below in the channel and I'll get back to you. Thanks again.